Welcome back to Contemplative Roots on this rather wild and rainy Sunday morning. And this is the second in the series on centering prayer. I would urge you, if you come across this one first, to do the first on centering prayer first, because this really follows on. So I wonder how you got on with centering prayer if you had a go. I think you will have found it intriguing but frustrating. I think the first thing you realise is how much we find ourselves thinking. And at first I tried too hard to push myself into non-thinking. It doesn't work. You just need to be very gentle with anything to do with the sort of the psyche. You need to be very gentle and just, oh yes, I'm thinking again. That's fine. I do think. Or an image has come to mind. That's a nice image, but I'm going to leave it be. I'm just going to come back to my sacred word. For years I've been breath praying, so I breath pray my sacred word. So I always have to have a 2-syllable word. So shalom works very well. Shalom, shalom, or 2 words. Whatever. Try out the breath prayers. It does recommend that you shouldn't swap your breath prayer mid meditation. I have done occasionally, but yeah, it's not recommended because you're thinking about it. Of course you can't stop thinking, but it's a bit like if you ever look at the graph on your computer of what the chip is doing. You know, it just sort of chuntles along, just sort of working on whatever it's doing, and then you open a program, it goes up like that, and it's working. So you can't avoid the sort of, because your brain needs to work just to keep you going. But it's those spikes when you start, oh yeah, oh remember that, or what about that? You're just letting go and coming back to your sacred word, and that can feel difficult and frustrating because we want to do it right, but just let go and just go with the flow. Remember the boat. You're in the river, just lying in the bottom of the boat, looking up at the sky, and as you let go of everything, you go down the river of God's love. You're carried along by God's love. Now that's a very pleasant image. Let me give you another image which is more disturbing, which I came to first. It involves falling down a mine shaft, but stay with me. I've been down a coal mine and I know what windy places they are, because when they were running, they drew the air in down one shaft and out the other. So there's a constant wind coming up a mine shaft. So I'm envisaging falling down a mine shaft, very, very deep. And then you find yourself suspended on the wind. The air coming up the shaft actually holds you in the darkness, great warm darkness of God's love. Letting yourself go down into the darkness, the light becoming less and less. So you let yourself go down, and as you let go of your thinking, you sink further down into this warm darkness of God's love. And the more you think, the more you've stopped. And yeah, at first, a mine shaft has got brick sides, and you can sense them. And then it just becomes darkness, and it opens up into a great cavern of this. It's the cloud of unknowing. It is entering into an unknowing with God, which is wonderful, disturbing, transforming, wonderful. Another image some people use is that your sacred word is like a bookmark. It takes you back to where you want to be when you've shut the book. I think it's a bookmark, but you need to be careful that you don't have too interesting a bookmark. Otherwise, you'll spend your time looking at the bookmark and not reading the book. So it's a useful thing, but it's not something to be stared at. It's something to let go. So when I use the word shalom, as I'm using at the moment, I have a sense of that peace and well-being, but I'm not wanting to hang on to those. I'm just wanting to let go as I breathe in. Now, you can go beyond and just do centering prayer on your breathing, or with a sort of sacred glance, not an image you look at, but just an awareness of an image. I've not got there. I'm a beginner. So I would stay with the sacred word. That feels like the easiest way in. But if you find yourself doing other ways, just go into your breathing. Just do it. Just go with it. There are a few good books on the subject. But I would start with the YouTubes of Thomas Keating. Of course, Richard Rohr is someone who's also done this sort of contemplative prayer for many years. There are lots of people, and the fascinating thing is that it changes your way of seeing things. And yeah, a lot of what I've presented is how I've come to see things through centering prayer. Just have a look at my notes. I've actually done, yeah, I come back to the golf green. I introduced this a while ago of an image of the true self and the what is called the false self, the anxious self, the ego self, of a golf green. So the true self is the green and the ego self are the bunkers. Remembering that the ego is part of us. It's our natural response to cope with life. When we're feeling intimidated, we find places of safety, either pushing ourselves or doing ourselves down or whatever it is. And that's the ego self. It's not the true self. And what centering prayer does, I think, is expands the green. We still need to sort of journey towards the centre, the whole, and it's a lifetime's journey. But the bunkers just seem that little bit further away, little by little. We can just more sense, oh yeah, I fall into a bunker, I'll get out of the bunker, or I'm heading towards a bunker here, I'm coming out. It's difficult to put your finger on it, but it does change you. It's changed me. I think I'm going to stop there because I've used a bit of time already. There is a third one, and that would be just to have a go at centering prayer and just to see how it goes. So that'll be next time. Thank you.